Greetings from the Nandamojo watershed in Costa Rica. My name is Matt Rosenstiel, and I'm the Executive Director of Restoring Our Watershed, a U.S. nonprofit working to protect the Nandamojo. Today, I'm going to give you a brief introduction to our area and a short overview of what my organization is doing to renew the valley's ecosystem and local economy. The watershed is located on the Pacific coast of Costa Rica's Guanacaste province. It has an area of 29,000 acres and is about 9.5 miles long from east to west. Here you can see a view of the topography of our valley as if you were looking to the northeast from the Pacific Ocean. The main ecosystem in our watershed is dry tropical forest, which is one of the most endangered ecosystems on the planet. Dry tropical forest is defined by the stark contrast between wet and dry seasons. For 6 months of the year, from December to May, we have an absolute drought. During that time, the landscape looks very different than the steamy jungle many visitors expect to see. On the other hand, during the rainy season from May to November, we can get a deluge of 10 inches of rain in just a few hours. During the 1930s and 40s, Guanacaste, shown here, was very similar to the American Wild West from earlier times. The region had a low population, abundant land available, and important natural resources that began to drive Costa Ricans to settle the region. During the 1950s and 60s, settlers began to clear land at a rapid pace, in large part to create cattle pastures. Huge swaths of dry tropical forests were cut in the Nandamojo. To show how rapidly the Nandamojo was deforested, here's an aerial photo of part of the valley in 1945, before significant land clearing began. As a reference point, we'll use the yellow star, which is at the mouth of the Nandamojo River. Here, you can see a similar photo of the valley 36 years later in 1981. I probably don't have to explain that rapid deforestation is awful for an ecosystem, especially a hilly one. Topsoil in the dry tropical forest is thin to begin with, and as the forest was eliminated, rains washed it away, filling up the creeks and rivers at the bottom of a valley with sedimentation. Today, at some points in the valley, there are several meters of sediment choking the normal flow of our waterways. Luckily for the Nandamojo ecosystem, the trend of deforestation gradually slowed and was eventually reversed as the cattle industry declined and virtually collapsed during the 70s and 80s. Returning to this picture from 1981, you can see the difference between the worst moment of deforestation then and the most recent aerial photo we have available from 2002. While the collapse of the cattle industry did have a positive effect on the Nandamojo as a natural ecosystem, it did present new problems for its human residents who would become largely dependent on the cattle industry as an economic engine. During the 90s and in the first years of the new millennium, tourism became one of the most important sectors of the Costa Rican economy as international tourists were drawn to the country by its gorgeous beaches, warm, predictable climate, and stable government. As tourism and foreign investment grew, Guanacaste's economy was transformed. A previously farm-based culture quickly tried to adapt as employment opportunities opened up in hotels, restaurants, and construction. English became a required subject for school curricula, and land values soared. The price of property doubled on an annual basis for several years in a row as foreigners raced to purchase cheap land for development. This new economic boom was a mixed blessing. It provided high-paying jobs and prosperity to some degree, but also severed the relationship many Nandamojo residents had with their land. Many families, who used to produce most of their own food, stopped working their farms. In reality, it's not that surprising. Growing food near the equator, working under the Costa Rican sun, isn't a picnic. Guanacaste's dependence on tourism also leaves the province vulnerable to international economic problems. When the global financial crisis began in 2008, the tourism sector suffered and many people in the Nandamojo were left without jobs. Ecotourism has provided a unique opportunity for Costa Rica, which is one of the world's leading destinations for ecotourists. Because visitors to Costa Rica are attracted by the country's amazing biodiversity, forest ecosystems, and pristine nature, TICOs are able to pursue economic opportunities that also involve the protection of natural resources rather than their exploitation. For example, in cities close to famous national parks, such as La Fortuna near the Arenal volcano or Santa Elena close to the Monteverde cloud forest, the local economy is based on keeping the park clean and its ecosystems intact. At the same time, large hotels consume enormous amounts of electricity, water, and other resources. In some areas, during the tourist high season, the number of visitors significantly increases the population density, taxing existing resources. In the Nandamojo, Playa Junquillal, a quiet beach town with less than 10 small hotels, is the principal destination for tourists. However, many watershed residents have jobs in tourism or depend on income related to foreign investment. The watershed's only high school is a technical school based on training students for jobs in tourism. Restoring Our Watershed has been working with one group of students who are part of the school's Nature Guide program. The program is meant to prepare students to be guides in national parks. We've been working with a group, which includes 12 students, for a few months now. In addition to their typical curriculum, we've been training them as responsible watershed stewards. The students have been learning about how a watershed works and will be exploring different aspects of the Nandamojo ecosystem. They'll be conducting field experiments and documenting their observations as a way to better understand the area. We hope that, through the process of learning about their ecosystem and sharing information with you, they'll be better prepared as nature guides. The group can't wait to get in touch. We're really looking forward to working with you all. Thanks for watching today, and please feel free to email me at matt@ourwatershed.org if you have any questions.